If we're going to be serious about raising up the next generation, then we have to do it from every seat. Here is from those in the children pastor seat.
What's up, Intern Academy fam, man? So excited to be with you today and pumped about the people that are on this podcast today. These are some giants in ministry, and in particular, they are giants in children's ministry with a lot of experience running high-caliber children's ministries and just heroes of the faith to our next gen. But they also are doing internships, and it's unique, right? In that lane, it's a unique challenge, and so we're just going to hear from them. We're just going to have them introduce themselves. We'll start with you, Don, and then we'll go around the horn.
Hi, my name is Don Wateren, and I am the kids pastor at Salem Church of God in Dayton, Ohio. And I've been the kids pastor here for a little over 2 years, and this is my 7th year in ministry.
I'm Sarah Stevens, and I'm the kids pastor at McDowell Church in Scottsdale, Arizona. I've been here for 3 years in this position, but have been in ministry for 15 years altogether.
My name is Chelsea Buckwalter, and I am at County Line Church of God in Auburn, Indiana. And I have been in ministry since 2009, so about 19 years. And I have been here at County Line for 12, and I've been a director of kids ministry for about 1.5 years.
Hey everybody, my name is Jeannie, and I am here down in sunny Florida at Bayside Community Church, and I've been serving in children's ministry for 18 years here. And I'm currently serving as a director of ministries and passing on the baton to a new children's ministry coordinator. So that's really exciting.
That's so awesome, you guys, man. Okay, so let's jump in. When you think about internships, what's been the biggest benefit for you, for your church, just having interns, especially in kids ministry?
For me, I would say the biggest benefit is definitely the passing the baton and raising up new leaders. I love mentoring people. So to have the opportunity to mentor them in the space that I'm in is really just life-giving for me. So it really makes ministry for me more enjoyable. For church-wide, it really helps our congregation see that this next generation is powerful. So to be able to see what the next generation is doing in our entire church is very encouraging for them.
Yeah, I just want to echo some of that. Making disciples is something that Jesus called us to do, and being a mentor, we need to always be mentored ourselves and have somebody that we are pouring into. Here at Bayside, we are excited. We worked with a team of coaches through Intern Academy. And so we usually take on several interns that are serving in all areas of ministry, not just children. Of course, right out of the gate, we walk them with a giant kids camp or VBS in many parts of the country to navigate that. But it's really such a beautiful picture of the whole church working together, serving one another, mentoring each other, discipling each other. And so having interns in the summer, the benefit is really just that it's a good picture of the whole church and passing the baton to the next generation.
I think for us, one of the biggest benefits is just the energy that interns bring to our ministries. Kids love having someone young and cool, not old and boring like me, that they get to hang out with. And so just the new life and just the new perspective that interns bring is so, I think, important for the kids, but also important for the church that they're working with, of getting to learn from them and kind of learn their perspectives and learn from ways they've seen ministry done in other areas. I also love watching interns get to know different members of our church, in different generations. So for them to go to dinner with a couple in their 70s or 80s and get to learn from their life experience and their faith journey, it's just kind of what you were saying, Jeannie. It's just this beautiful picture of the church body as a family, and welcoming interns into that, and just getting to know them is a really cool thing.
I love interns. Internship is where I got my start. And so I'm very passionate about them and investing in them. And I think it's because I was invested in. And I think that that is one of the biggest things that I took away as an intern, was that somebody intentionally invested in me during this time. And I would say that was probably even more important than some of the children's ministry things. But just someone loved me as I was, and helped guide me in the next steps and help prepare me for those things. And also, I think interns just, they provide different perspectives, something that we may not have thought of. They think outside of the box. They can challenge us a little bit on things and help us think through things differently. They bring new ideas to the table, and they're not just there to like help carry the load. I mean, they do some of that as well. And we miss them when they leave. But I think for us, the biggest benefit is building those relationships with potential church leaders, and how they can invest in someone else because we've invested in them.
That's so awesome, you guys. And that sounds exciting. It's like, oh man, why doesn't everybody do it? Well, there's reasons why everybody doesn't do it, because there's the other side of it, right? And we always think about, yeah, but I got this and I got that and I got this and I got that. And there's how do I find one? How do I get my church to be on board? What am I going to do with them? Do I have time for them? Like, there's just all these different scenarios. Curious for you personally, what have been some of the toughest aspects with you getting internship started, doing the internship, after the internship? What have been some of the challenges that come for you with having interns?
Yeah, Chip, I can speak to that a little bit. I think there's a misconception that we think that interns are going to make our lives easier in the summertime or take off the load. But I want to just tell all of you, while it is a wonderful experience, it is actually hard work. And they're going to add to your schedule. They're going to be a distraction, but a beautiful distraction. They ask great questions. But every summer, you essentially plop people into your department that know nothing about what you're doing, and you literally have to walk them through. You've qualified them by saying, hey, guess what? You get to be a part of our ministry. So there's been no interview process, really. I mean, you interviewed them to be an intern, but you didn't interview them to be in your role and be in your department and understand all the ins and outs. The beauty is there is that great energy that comes from it, but you've just got to be ready as a coach to be ready to mentor them, to know that they're going to feel exhausted. They're not going to have a work rhythm that is clean and path. They're possibly in a different state and everything is new to them. So you really end up doing a lot more mentoring, encouraging, supporting than benefiting from like this intern who's like all in, ready to do this. And a lot of times they come and they don't really know what they want to do. They're not sure what ministry they want to be in. And so saying, here's kids ministry and this is how you do it, can sometimes be a little bit challenging.
Yeah, I agree with some of those things too. And I think for us, some of the toughest parts is just like you said, that busy work versus effective work. Like, are we finding a balance for them, or are we just giving them tasks to do because it takes it off of our to-do list? So being intentional about mentoring them and taking the time. It's a huge time commitment to have interns, especially when I feel like for kids ministries, I'm sure you all can agree with me, our to-do lists are already full. And so we're adding more on our to-do list. But the benefit of that, like you said, is just huge. But I think also another one of the toughest parts is trusting. It's so hard to trust interns to take the lead, or to know that they're actually going to follow through with something that you've asked them to do. I've had experiences where some of them haven't, and it's really hard to say, okay, I'm going to give you a piece of this where I really am striving for excellence, and there's this expectation of me, and I'm passing the baton on for someone else to do it. And so I'm having to trust them that they're actually going to do it and do it well.
For me, one of the toughest aspects is we have a big swing in summer attendance. It drops off. So a lot of pastors take vacations, and we have, between me and the student pastor, we have several interns. So we do not slow down. And so it's a little challenging when we go full speed throughout the entire summer, and having an intern or more than one definitely takes a lot of time, and pouring into them takes something out of you. So to have everyone come back rejuvenated and you be a little tired is a little bit of a challenge. Another challenge that I've seen is sometimes we'll have interns that aren't necessarily kid specific, but they want to do an internship. And I always say yes to those interns because they have something to offer in kids, even though it might not be directly related in kids. So this year I had a kid who loves tech, and he redid everything tech in kids. And he had a huge impact, but his impact was, we're still feeling it from everything he put in place tech wise.
Yeah, I think kind of speaking to what you said, Dawn, of I think a tough part can be if an intern comes who has experience working in other ministry areas. Kids is so different. So we've had an intern who worked with students before, and it's such a relational experience working with students in summers. You're always hanging out with students and always, going to meet them somewhere. And kids ministry isn't quite like that in the summers. It's maybe connecting with parents, and there's, plenty of time to hang out with kids, but it's less, it's more planning for the events, right? And it's more just kind of preparation. And so even just helping interns walk through what those differences are, and kind of maybe some unmet expectations or different expectations than what they had.
That's incredible, you guys, and you're right, and it's more work, and you have to be intentional, and it's easy to think it's all going to just be smooth, and it's not always smooth. Trying to figure out some of those hoops. I'm curious a little bit on this about, I guess, just if you had advice for someone else who was thinking about doing an internship, what would you tell them? And how would you start? And let me add this piece too. How would you start? And then what do they do? Like, how do you determine what it's like for them for the intern? Like, what do you do the first week? Do you put them in a nursery? Do you help them volunteer in a certain area? And then how do you navigate them throughout your internship? So I kind of a two-parter, and throwing a little curveball there, but what advice do you have for them? And how would they start? And then what would you do with them?
Yeah, so my advice would be to just map out what you think that your internship is going to look like, but then also give yourself some grace because it's not going to go as you planned. And it has happened every time for me, and it's not always been negative. It's just been being flexible and like, okay, so this person has these leadership skills, so we're going to start here versus where I thought we would start because of how the flow could potentially go. But really figure out what you want to accomplish with the intern. And then with their personality and their skills, it's going to kind of ebb and flow for how that internship is going to follow through with. But then also, like, what is your why behind wanting an intern? Figure that out before you start, because it is far more than just giving someone those tasks, like I've said before. But like, what are the goals that you're going to accomplish with them? And so I would say, uh, probably not throw them into like emceeing your whole large group worship, but hey, let's start with partnering with a veteran volunteer who's been here for a while to see kind of how they go about it. And also just kind of some of the onboarding processes of policies and procedures and starting with those things so they have a basic knowledge of what the internship is going to look like and the policies that you have in place. But then also just and then going as the internship goes, just see how their skills develop and then throw them in the things to help them challenge them a little bit. And then again, that comes with the trusting that they're ready to do that. And then you can help prepare them along the way for some of those things. And then the last thing I would say is ministry is hard. There are seasons where things are just hard, and be open and honest with your interns as much as you can without breaking confidentiality. I think that's huge because I think a lot of times they get this in their head that ministry is going to be great, and it is. It can be fulfilling, but it can also be hard. And so there have been times where I've been walking through really hard seasons and I've had an intern and I'm like, what do I do with that? Because it's been like I didn't know I was going to have to go through these hard things with this intern here. It just happened that way. And so I think just it will give them a glimpse of what ministry really is all about and how effective you can be, even through the hard seasons.
Yeah, I would just I agree with so much of that, Chelsea. I think that number one, I would encourage anybody to have an intern. You know, I was afraid of it for a long time until Chip just finally said, "Hey, guess what? I have a children's ministry intern. I'm sending her to you. She's coming from Oklahoma." Like it was sort of like finally rip the band-aid off, just go. And the beauty of being a children's pastor is you know that you are a type of person who is high task, you have a list, you're organized, you have a plan, and all of those things are going to benefit your intern. So carving time in to just be a mentor and a disciple is also refreshing for yourself personally in your own spiritual walk, to just slow down a little and be a good mentor for a summer. The thing that I've learned over the years of doing internships is it's not so much like they're not going to come to me at age 19 and I'm going to pour into them every fabulous thing that you need to do about children's ministry and they're going to get it and remember it. But what I can instill in them is just sort of like the need for flexibility, the importance of having spiritual disciplines in your daily rhythm and what that means, how to care for yourself, and just being real and authentic. Just like you said, this summer, my family dealt with a very deep and close loss in our family. And I had 4 interns here. Fortunately, I had coaches partnering with me to do that, but allowing them to see like, hey, I need personal time. I'm out for a few days, but keep with your rhythm and your plan and your tasks. You know, it's just important for them to see your real life, your real people, and just be a part of the church, lean on the whole church. The other thing is just like really get your staff on board with you. Um, there's been so many benefits to work with my youth pastor, to work with a senior pastor from another church in partnership. This summer, we're going to have a family pastor, all IEA coaches, and working together. So maybe you don't have that right in your church, but find a network. Where's an adjacent church that you guys could jump on Zoom together or a Google Meet just like this and do classes together. Let the interns talk and see what other interns are doing in the summertime. It's just so been beautiful to be in community together because they're never going to learn everything about ministry in 10 weeks time. And having that expectation will just end up being disappointing. So go with the joys, like bring them into the beauty. Why do you love kids ministry? Why are you passionate about it? And why do they think they're passionate about it? They might discover they're just passionate about leading worship for kids ministry, or maybe they like the preteen ministry more than they like kids. Or, you know, one of our interns said, and I'll just close with this, he said, we were wrapping up VBS because we start there with kids camp. It's like week 2 for them. Like week 1 is like, let's get to know you as people. Week 2, let's do kids camp. Like, so it's full busy, run, chase, go. Like they turn upside down. They love it or hate it. But then we see them in action and then we know where to put them. And one intern said, wow, I didn't even realize you had to think about all of these things. And he was just the snack helper, but it was just like he was out cutting watermelon and laid the knife down on the table. And I was like, hey, buddy, that's got to be rinsed off immediately and put at the back of the drawer again. Like, doesn't stay laying on the table for your feisty 4-year-old that's going to fly by and catch a sword on the way by. So anyway, it's fun. I highly recommend it, but just be ready and be flexible.
Yeah, I love kind of what you're saying, Jeannie. I love even just asking interns, like, what are you hoping to get out of this? Or what are some areas you know that you shine in that I can like coach and guide and like make you stronger? And what are some areas you want to grow in? And I think with those, asking those questions gives them a little say also in what their experience looks like. It helps me know how to best coach and lead them. But it also helps me know if they know that maybe speaking isn't a strong suit, but it's something they want to get better at, then that means like, all right, to get better at that, you're going to have to do it. And I'm going to have to be okay with you not being great doing it. And that's okay. Like, if you, I think Craig Rochelle in a podcast recently said, in training up young leaders, if they can do it 60, 70% as good as what I would do, then like, let them do it. Like, that's how you grow. That's how you get better. And so I think as leaders, even just kind of adjusting maybe our expectations of like, okay, like it's not going to be done maybe the way I would do it. It may not be done perfectly. I don't do things perfectly. That's okay. There's grace and there's space for that. But I think just helping them also be able to identify and have a say in what they're going to learn from the summer.
Yeah, I completely agree with Sarah. If you give them a place where they can possibly fail safely, I think is huge, because that's where they're able to grow. And if I think there's a lot of pressure put on them sometimes that they can't mess up, and I think they need to know that's what this is. That's what this is about. It's about learning, not about being perfect. The one thing I would say from a standpoint of having interns, to where you start, the training manual that Intern Academy gives is phenomenal. So there is already a huge piece that we have to work with. Outside of that, just having a solid plan for onboarding and then that training manual, those are two pieces that I think would really make an internship go smoothly.
That's awesome, you guys. So much wisdom. And I learned a few things today. So thank you for your time. Intern Academy fam, if you're listening to this and you're a children's pastor and you're exploring this idea, I think first I would say to you, you should do it. And I would also say that the people on this call, reach out to Chelsea at County Line in Indiana, reach out to Sarah at McDowell in Arizona, reach out to Dawn at Salem in Ohio, reach out to Jeannie at Bayside in Florida. They are available. They are wonderful people and willing to walk the road out. They're figuring it out just like we all are, but also willing to kind of pour back in. And you can make a difference in a young person's life, or maybe a bunch of young person's life. And eventually those folks will make a difference in lots of young little kids' lives. And so it's super worth it. This next generation needs us, and we have something to offer them, and to reach down and support them is just a huge privilege that the Lord gives us to disciple the next generation, who's going to disciple the next generation of little. So God bless you. Thank you all so much for being on this call today. You are deeply loved, and we'll catch you down the road.